Before starting her own cafe, Samantha Schreuder was sexually harassed at every hospitality job she'd had except one. An incident in her 20s still haunts her.
I had a gut feeling as to what was wrong with the situation, but I didn't know how to get myself out of it, so I just quit.
The pace of making workplaces safer has been slow. Only 6 of the recommendations from the Respect at Work report have been passed into law. They include making it easier to sack someone for sexual harassment and giving an employee 2 years to make a complaint. But the requirement for employers to prevent sexual harassment was ignored.
This change in the law would encourage them, rather than to think about their excuses on why they're not responsible, to focus on what they could do to prevent it.
Business leader James Fazzino also supports putting the onus on employers to prevent sexual harassment. He also wants corporate Australia, and in particular men, to do more to address the issue.
It's an issue for men because overwhelmingly it's men who are harassing women.
Scentre Group, the owner of Westfield Shopping Centre, is one publicly listed company that's implemented another key recommendation from Kate Jenkins' report. It's banned the use of non-disclosure agreements or NDAs to silence victims.
As far as our employees who potentially are perpetrators or who are perpetrators, then we may disclose their names. So we do not protect their identity as far as any NDA.
Peter Allen says CEOs need to adopt a zero-tolerance approach to stamping out sexual harassment.
Part of my remuneration is based on the culture, based on the safety, and based on people behaving within the code of conduct.
The Respect at Work report has 5 other recommendations that specifically relate to private industries. The most notable is for ASX-listed companies to report incidents of sexual harassment to shareholders, but ultimately it's up to firms to act on it. A recent survey by the Australian Council for Superannuation Investors suggests most large businesses just don't get it.
Only 19% of the companies that responded felt that sexual harassment was a matter that sat with the board in terms of responsibility for oversight. And in our view, that is clearly a board responsibility.
High-profile cases of sexual harassment at AMP, ANZ, IOOF and IFM investors have shown the business cost of not addressing the issue.
What we've learnt is the reputational damage in trying to keep harassment secret is far, far worse than putting your hand up and say we've had a case and this is what we've done about it.
Unions say without a positive duty on bosses, the onus is on working women.
It ends up being the individual that has to be courageous enough to step forward and make a complaint.
After her own experiences, Samantha Schreuder has a zero-tolerance approach to sexual harassment in her business.
When you feel powerless in a situation, you don't feel like you can do anything. And so I think having like a set rule that you know that you can go to is really important.
Cleaning up the industry by preventing sexual harassment.